Welcome to the Immeasurably More podcast. I have a feeling that this episode is going to be my all-time favorite. I am here with the siblings of Hunter's Hope families. We are at the Symposium. We are all basically family. We're basically all extended siblings. And I have not done a sibling session yet on the podcast. And I'm really excited to give a little background. Yesterday, we did a sibling session where we talked about fun things and also really, really hard things. But each of these siblings, they have a brother or sister either still here or in heaven. And so I want to introduce you to them, and we're going to have a really fun conversation today. Okay. So first, Stanley, will you introduce yourself? And then we're going to go down the line of everyone that's here. We have 6 people. This is the most I've ever had on a podcast. So I'm so excited. So let's get started.
My name is Stanley Barassa. My brother is Joshua Barassa and Nicholas. Nicholas passed away in 2003. And then my brother Joshua is still here with us. And I am from Susquehanna, PA.
Hi, my name is Sienna Seeger. I'm from Brooklyn, and my brother was Aiden Seeger, and he passed away in 2012 from ALD.
My name is Wyatt Abner. I'm from Oklahoma. I have a sister named Kaylin who passed away in 2014 to MLD.
I'm Eli, my sister here next to me. But our sibling is Lily, and she's still with us, thankfully. She has Krabbe, and we're from Southern Maryland.
My name's Abby Smith. That was my brother that just talked. Our sibling, Lillian Smith, she got diagnosed when she was 6 months old with Krabbe, and we live in Southern Maryland.
Hi, I'm Jessie Levasheth. I'm from Orange County, California, and my brother Judd had onset of Krabbe. He's my older brother, and he had onset of Krabbe when he was 2.5, and then within 5 months, he passed away. So I was about 1 when that happened.
Thank you all for introducing yourselves. I love each and every one of you. And I want this episode to be fun, and I don't want to say serious, but we're going to talk about some real life stuff and also fun. So in order to kick it off, I want to ask a question that we did in the sibling session yesterday. So to give the listener a little bit of background, yesterday in our sibling session, we started out by putting a bunch of questions in the middle of the floor, and then everyone had to pick one. And then once you picked one, you had to answer it. And so this question, Jessie, you actually wrote this question, and you said that it's like a California type person question, and none of us are from California, but I'm still going to ask it because I thought it was hilarious. Okay. So the question is, if a bird flew into your house on a Monday every consecutive week, how many weeks would it take you to think someone was putting them there on purpose? Guys, I don't think any of us actually answered this question. I think it was someone else that's not in this room, but I need to know what you think. Stanley?
Honestly, I probably wouldn't notice at all. And I would notice the bird, but I'd probably just start putting food out. And
that's nice.
I honestly don't think I would notice that every Monday he's there. So
it's such a random question. Okay, wait, before we continue on, actually, Sienna, you can go first, and then I'll ask this question.
I would say the same thing. I guess I wouldn't know it would be every Monday, but I feel after a while you would be what is this bird doing here?
Right. I agree. Well, actually, I'll ask you this, Jessie, at the end. Wyatt?
It would take me a very, very long time to realize that I don't even know what day it is half the time. So
that's a good point.
It'd take me a very long time to realize.
I would say give me a month, and maybe I'd start catching on that it was on Mondays. I think that's the only thing that I would have trouble with, is that
knowing it was Monday?
Yeah, knowing that it was Monday.
Yeah,
because I'd just be sense. A bird kept flying in, but I wouldn't realize that it was on Monday consecutively.
I think I'm the same way. I think I would realize that it was there, but I wouldn't assume that someone put it there. I would just be why does this keep happening?
Okay, Jessie, please tell us why you came up with this question.
Unfortunately, I can't claim that I came up with this question. My friend Timmery back home has asked this question for numerous icebreakers.
Well, I like this icebreaker.
I thought it was necessary.
But yesterday you said that you have had a bird in your house.
Oh, yes, for sure.
That just happens
twice
in
my life. Yes.
It's
That's why this question exists.
Sure.
It must be a California thing because I mean, maybe I've had a bird fly in my house once in my entire life. So I am not sure about that. But thank you for the icebreaker question. I appreciate it. And it was our
My pleasure.
icebreaker question yesterday too. So I love it.
pleasure.
But we're going to get into some other questions so that the listener can get to know you guys. And I'm going to ask these questions. And if one of you wants to answer, awesome. If all of you want to answer, even more awesome. Okay. So just an answer from your heart. People listening, they just want to get to know who you are. So this is the first question. What have you learned the most through your siblings' life?
I would probably start off with, no matter how anybody is or like what they have, physically, mentally, whatever, that, they're still people. They still deserve to be loved, just as much as anyone else. And definitely the fact that some people, can be cruel and unloving towards people who might be a little different. But at the end of the day, they're all people and they all deserve love like everyone else.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Wyatt, do you want to answer this question too?
Yes, I think the biggest thing I learned, I mean, Stanley said it most, but another thing is like perseverance. I mean, they're in pain a lot of the time and they still lived every day and pushed through for themselves and for everyone. So I think perseverance is one of the biggest things I learned.
I learned that through Hunter too. I think that anyone who comes in contact with our siblings can see perseverance so evident in their life. Does anyone else want to add to this question?
Yeah, I think that through my sister's life, I've really learned to just appreciate everything, like even the hard stuff, just to take it all in and just be able to appreciate everything.
One moment at a time. Okay, let's move on to another question. Who do you turn to the most when you need help?
The person I turn to the most is probably my dad because he's been through like so much and he gives like the best advice and he's so comforting and just like all of the above.
What is the best advice your dad has given you?
I think just like everything happens for a reason, which is like kind of basic, but I think just like also staying positive too.
Mm-hmm. I was staring at Wyatt to answer this question too, but he has another question. So let's move on to Wyatt's question. I think multiple people can answer this question. What's your favorite sports team? I know the answer to this, but I want you to say why too.
So should I just be basic and like say who it is?
Absolutely.
Okay, so it's the Buffalo Bills.
Exactly.
Of course.
100% as it should be, Wyatt. So explain why. Why are the Bills your favorite?
How can you not love the Bills?
Period.
I mean, genuinely, how could you not?
Okay,
The golden days of Jim, Andre, Thurman, Bruce, Don
I
Beebe,
love this.
full squad, Steve Tasker.
How old are you, Wyatt?
17.
See, I love this about you, Wyatt, is that you're young and you still understand the Buffalo Bills from back in my dad's day. He's old, but you still understand and appreciate the 4 Super Bowls, even though we lost, but it's okay. Let's not talk about it.
Josh will bring us back one day.
I hope so.
Josh and Keon.
That's what we're waiting for. That is what we're waiting for. And Eli also is wearing full Bills attire right now, which I'm absolutely loving. So, Eli, I'm assuming the Bills are also your favorite sports team?
Yeah, for football, definitely the Bills.
Okay.
Overall, I'd probably say I watch more baseball though. So the Pittsburgh Pirates probably on top, but that's just because we don't buy football to watch football, so I don't really watch too much football.
All right. Hey, but you're rocking the Bills, so I appreciate that. Wyatt, before we move on, I want you to tell about your time at the Buffalo Bills game. What was your favorite part?
The atmosphere. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like Buffalo, like, I don't know, it's just Buffalo.
Bills Mafia.
Bills Mafia is great.
Bills Mafia is crazy.
How could you not love Bills Mafia?
Okay, what about the Buffalo Wings? Like you had wings when you were here. Well, you're from, wait, where are you from?
I'm from Oklahoma.
Yeah, so you don't have buffalo wings, but when you tried buffalo wings, what'd you think?
I had like 25
See?
in total.
Yep.
And the blue cheese, I mean.
That was, I remember yesterday, I put a question in ranch or blue cheese, and the only people that put blue cheese were the people that have had blue cheese in Buffalo. Because blue cheese in Buffalo just hits different, and also you can't have wings in Buffalo and order ranch, or they'll be like, you're not from here. What are you doing here? You can't have ranch. We don't have ranch. So did you have wings when you came too, Eli?
Not like 25 like Wyatt did, but I had a couple and they were very good.
Oh, see,
And I did indeed get blue cheese.
see, there you go.
Blue cheese just
Blue
isn't
cheese
good
wins.
anywhere else.
I
It's not-
agree.
It's
Yeah,
terrible.
exactly.
I'm not gonna lie.
It's a Buffalo thing. It's a Buffalo thing. Does anyone else want to answer who their favorite sports team is? No one else wants to answer the sports question. I guess it's just us three sports fans, and we're all Bills fans, so I love it. All right, on to the next question. Do you have a favorite song or Bible verse or quote that has helped you?
There's okay.
You can do
I
all
it?
of the above.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, can I do both? The verse, I was actually looking it up because I forget exactly where it's found. It's in Ephesians, I know that much, which I was reading through a while ago. But it's the sum of it is just keep praying through everything and just don't stop, which has kept me going. Talking to God, and then a song I really like, "Homecoming" by I think it's Maverick City, possibly, or Bethel.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was actually humming "Holy Water" while we were up on the ropes course, which kept me going too, which is actually my girlfriend's favorite song too.
I feel like I know the verse you're saying in Ephesians, pray without ceasing.
It's something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I love that verse too. Anyone else with a quote or song? Could be any song.
I have a verse. John 15:18. It's something like the world hated me first. It's something like that. It basically just says like, even though the world may hate you or, whatever, like someone dislikes you or anything, they dislike God first. Like he's with you. Like sometimes you don't agree with everyone or anything like that. It just knows that God's still with you.
Yeah.
No matter what happens.
Yeah. I love that verse. I don't know what the words specifically are to it either, but it's so good. And I love that. It's like standing up for your faith.
Yeah.
No matter what the world says about you, because what matters is what God says about you. Amen, Wyatt. Okay, moving on to the next question. When we first handed out questions, no one wanted to answer a mental health question, but we have one. Abby was late, and so she picked out the mental health question. What are you doing to take care of your mental health?
I would say counseling has been a huge help for me, along with just making sure I get enough sleep. That's another big thing for me. I've had a lot of mental health struggles, so I would say therapy is life-saving, and I love my therapist, so it's great.
I would agree with that. I do believe in counseling. Anyone who has listened to me for a long time knows that I am just a huge advocate of counseling. And you're right, it really can be life-saving. And I'm thankful for incredible counselors who just love you through the pain and are there for you through it. So thank you for sharing that. Does anyone want to be brave and talk about mental health? Anyone else?
I would say just like working on myself is important and like being comfortable with like being alone and like doing things that are like good for you and only benefit you, because it's like really you versus yourself, and like creating a home inside yourself.
I love that. I feel like too, something I've learned is that you can't take care of other people unless you take care of yourself. Like you can't encourage people or be there for people if you're not first there for yourself and take care of your own health and your own mental health. So I love that. And making a home within yourself. I love that. I've never heard that before.
I don't have much to add, but I do agree with that. Like you can't care for someone if you can't care for yourself. Like if you're not well, then you can't make another person well. So
right.
I do agree with that.
Yeah, I very much agree. A couple months back, I guess, a lot of my friends were turning to me with their problems and got pretty stressed out during it. So taking my time that I needed to cool down during it was really helpful. And then just overall leaning on God and giving him my struggles, because he carries your burden and his burden is light.
I imagine that, your friends and stuff go to you when they're having a hard time because, I'm just assuming this, but because they see Jesus in you. I mean, I know I do, and I only see you once a year. And they also know that you've gone through a lot, and you are going through a lot with your siblings. And so I think that that's pretty incredible. But you're right. You have to take care of yourself too in order to be there for your friends.
Like when I'm ever like feeling down or anything, I just kind of look at it like, I made it past another day and one day closer to the best time of the year, Hunter's Hope. Easily the best time of the year for, I feel like, a lot of us. So that's kind of how I look at it a lot of the time.
Yeah. Going off that, can you guys, some of you or all of you, share what it is about Hunter's Hope Symposium that you love the most, that has impacted you the most? Why you guys look so forward to coming every single year?
I think, especially as someone that lost my sibling so young, it would be really hard to feel grounded in this community if I didn't have other friends and just people like Abby and Eli here and Sienna and Wyatt and everyone and Stanley to get a window into their world. And I enjoy making friends with people like my brother and also people like me.
The amazing thing about that is that you all are growing up together. Yes, you usually, most of you only see each other at the Symposium, but you're growing up together every single year, seeing each other. I think that's amazing.
Yeah, and being here and meeting, like, especially, like, I love meeting the kids, but the siblings, like, they're amazing people to lean on, and they know the struggles and they know everything. So they're people that can actually relate to you, which is hard to find. So it's really amazing.
Just a great community of people that understand your struggles and help support you through it.
No one else like understands. Like people say they understand, but like they don't.
Mm-hmm.
No offense, but yeah, everyone here understands, So it's like if I was to have a problem with my grief with my sister, like there's so many people here that I know relate to it. And I know like if there was someone else who was going through that, there's me, there's so many people here. These are like my best friends. Like Jessie, I've known her almost like all my life, pretty much. Abby, Eli, I've known them for forever. Sienna, Stanley, known them all my life too. Michael over there in the corner, known him all my life.
Yeah.
These are my people, and it's the only time like you really feel like you can be like yourself in a way.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Like it's a great community, and like you don't have to like explain yourself because like everybody can relate, and it's not like a weird thing. Like I feel like with your friends that can't relate, it's like you make them feel guilty like without, because they can't really understand it, of course, because they haven't been through it.
I would honestly just like the people that you get to meet is just amazing. Like where I'm from, I like you guys couldn't replace anybody. Everybody here is like very special to me. Eli, Wyatt, Sienna, Jessie, Abby. Like I've known all of you guys since 2012, 2013. I talk to you guys all the time, all of them. It's an unforgettable experience. I remember every Hunter's Hope, all the people I meet. I'm really bad with names, but I remember the people. I remember faces, and I honestly wouldn't trade any of the experiences that I've had at Hunter's Hope for anything in the world.
It's almost like it turns something that's so hard, not that it doesn't continue to be hard, but into such a blessing. And I agree with all of you. Being here, it's like you just settle in and are so comfortable because exactly what you said. We all get each other. And in each of our lives, we're really the only people that understand what it's like. I don't have a single friend outside of the Hunter's Hope family that knows what it's like to lose a sibling or watch a sibling suffer every day of their life. And there's something so special that no one can compare to. So thank you for sharing that. And I absolutely agree. So let's transition into the next question. Jessie, you have 4 questions in front of you. So we got a lot to talk about, girlfriend.
I'm going with this one because Abby and I talked about it yesterday night, and I feel like it needs to be said on the podcast.
Okay.
I go for it.
Okay. The question is, how is your relationship with God?
Abby and I were talking about this question yesterday because a lot of what we see on the surface here, and probably is true of people's inside as well, a lot of really strong Christianity, and it seems like really easy belief, and belief in God is really difficult for me. And I do believe in God, and I'm a committed Christian, but it takes like a daily choice to say so. Even when I have all the evidence in front of me that point towards God, it's still like a constant battle with my heart. And so I would say that's what keeps me from having the best relationship with God that I could. It's just that like struggle with myself. But that said, I feel strongly that God exists, and if he does, then he deserves to be worshipped. And so that's what I'm trying to do.
I just want to say the fact that you picked this question and are real and honest and vulnerable and saying, I struggle with my faith. I appreciate that so much. And I'm sure every single person sitting here can say the exact same thing. Because when you've gone through what we all have, it's normal to wrestle with God. I cannot tell you the amount of times where I've asked God why. I've been mad at God. I've yelled at God, like, why are you allowing this to happen? And yet I believe it's in those moments where he meets us the most and is like, I'm here. And even when we can't actually hear him, he shows up in these hardest moments. And so I appreciate you being honest and real and vulnerable, because that's true. That is life. That's a part of the struggle that we've all gone through. So thank you for sharing that. And Abby, I know that you kind of wanted to add something to that.
Yeah, like she said, we were talking about this yesterday, and I totally agree with that. Like, it is hard. Like, I definitely like lost my relationship with God for a while. I was kind of very out of touch with myself and anything greater than me. I think I really struggled with that. And so in the past couple of years, I've really tried to regain that, and I've been trying really hard, but it is hard and it's a struggle. And, you know, I go to church when I can and I try to pray every night, but it is hard because I am constantly asking, like, why? And that's something that I'm really bad about, is I need to know answers. And I'm kind of demanding with it. And if I don't understand something fully, it's hard for me to really put my belief in it. I'm struggling, but I know he's there, and I talk with him, and I believe that he does good for everybody, but it is a struggle.
Yeah. I'm so thankful that you're honest about that too, because I feel the same way. And it's hard when you don't feel like you get an answer. And yet I always say that God is big enough to handle our questions and our anger and all of the things that we bring before him. And even if we push him away, because there have been plenty of times where I've been like, nope, God, I'm going to do this my own way, he's not going anywhere. So in the midst of any doubt or fear or running from God, he's not going anywhere. He'll always be there. So thank you guys. I really appreciate you answering that question so honestly, because that's what every single listener wants to hear. They want people to be real and vulnerable. They don't want someone coming in here and saying, yeah, like my relationship with God is perfect and everything is great and I don't struggle with anything at all, because that's not very relatable. So thank you. I very much appreciate that. And I don't know if anyone else want to add to that?
Well, I'll start by commenting on what you said. And I think that the book of Job helps a lot through that. Because it's like, there was a quote from a guy, I forget his name, but he was going through, I think him and his students were like going through the book of Job, studying it. And what he said was, he was angry at God, and he was like saying all this stuff, like, I wish you never made me, and I wish I was never born, but he was still bringing that to God. And so as long as you still bring that to God, bring your doubt, bring your anger, bring whatever, it's kind of the same with, David in Psalms. You know, he's still really angry. I mean, Job's probably more angry, but just keep bringing it to God, and that he's not going to let you down.
Amen. All right, let's go into another question. And this is about your sibling. We've talked a lot about just us personally, all of you personally. Let's do one about your sibling. How has your sibling impacted how you see the world? Because I think that having a sibling with a terminal illness, it changes how you view the world. At least personally, that's what I've experienced. So
the way that Lily's changed my view is, well, for one, I think like was it you, Wyatt, that said like being grateful for every breath? You know, we still are here, and, you know, they are still here, or, you know, even if they're not, then being grateful that we're still here. And then also, like, you know, if they can do it, I can do it. And I mean, going through with type 1 and getting diagnosed with that and everything, I definitely look towards Lily. And, you know, if she can go through chemo and I don't think she went through radiation, but she went through a lot of other stuff. So if she went through all that, then I can definitely give myself a shot every now and then.
I picked that question because I think my perspective on it is a little different, because I don't remember a life different from, I guess, already having lost my brother. So I would say that in a different way, I was never really oblivious to death. I mean, from what I can remember, I've just always known that, the people around me are going to die. And I do think that has had an impact on me. And I've been trying since our siblings session yesterday, I've been trying to figure out what that is, like what in specific, how that affects me specifically. But I do think that's a big thing that a big way Judd has impacted me is, and he was so aware. Actually, you were talking about Job. He quoted Job to my parents, and I think his awareness of death in that way, in sort of an innocent kind of way, is something that I've learned and also am still learning. And then I want to say another thing too. I want to say that I'm just so on this, like, I don't have any memories of my brother like idea tangent thing, but I'm going to keep going with it. I think navigating a world where my parents have all these memories that I don't have, but we still lost the same person, it does create, as Sienna said earlier, a sense of loneliness. And I think losing Judd has made me have to navigate that a lot more than I would have anticipated.
Kind of touching on what I said earlier with the whole idea of just making every moment count. I feel like that's been something that has really, like, I've just seen myself do more ever since I've started thinking about losing her. I've had a really hard time doing stuff without her, if that makes sense. Like, like I feel almost guilty when I'm not with her. Like, I know one day I'm not gonna have her, and I will never be able to do that stuff with her. And so I just want her to always be with me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
One
Wyatt?
way that Caitlin impacted me, and you kind of touched on it a bit, to like, I guess like live every day like you're dying. Don't be afraid to like go do something. I mean, also you gotta do it with God, especially if you have like a sibling, so like someone with MLD or Krabbe or ALD, whatever. Don't be afraid to like go do things with them or spend time. Like, you don't want to like not waste your time, I guess, but like go do something fun. Like go do something you wouldn't do.
Yeah, I remember Aaron said that you guys tried to have Hunter live like he was living and not like he was dying. And that's something that I really kind of keep thinking about, is like, I feel like that's really important, especially for these kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd say it kind of goes back to what I said in the beginning, seeing that no matter how anybody is, they deserve love. But sort of like what Abby said, I kind of agree, feeling like guilty about doing something in front of him or, without him because he couldn't do it. Like I think about that a lot, and it does kind of hurt to like know that I'm able to do things that he can't, or, that I'm doing stuff without him. At the end of the day, I feel like it's just very important to spend time with him and do stuff that he can do. Like my brother loves cards, especially doing stuff like that.
I think it just taught me like life is short and like cherish every moment. I mean, I was really young when my brother passed away, so I think I'm still learning. I guess just like such a like horrible thing brought me to this. So it's like the awareness is just like amazing, like what it brought me to, like such a great community.
It's like when the joy and the pain collide. I feel like that is a good way to describe the Symposium and just the relationship that we all have, is that it's our greatest pain that brought us together. And that is such a joyful thing too. Jessie, I see you want to add something.
I want to add to this about joy. When I was in counseling last week before we came, I was telling her how excited I was to come. And she was like, "Why are you so excited?" And I said, "I think everyone just does joy so well there." And I think it comes from that place of we've all experienced similar hurts. And yet, even in those hurts, we can have dance parties. And that's my favorite.
It's like almost like it's a supernatural joy. I almost feel like it's not of this earth. I feel like it's a God-given joy that we all have in the midst of so much heartache. We're going to end by, I have 2 more questions and I want everyone to answer them. So brace yourself, guys. Okay. We'll start with you, Stanley, since we started with you. So we'll start with you for this too. If you could ask God for anything and know that he would grant your request, what would you ask him?
Honestly, I would probably switch places with my brother. I've lived a pretty normal life when it comes to doing things, and growing up seeing, him not being able to run or do anything like that, and the disease slowly progressing and him losing like his ability to do things. I feel like kind of definitely affected me a little bit. So I would want him to be able to do those things, even if it meant like I wouldn't be able to do those things.
Wow.
I would ask God for more time with my brother to be able to like go through life together and like make memories and like fight and cry and laugh together, get to experience what it's like to like have a sibling.
I agree with Sienna, and I maybe ask that second, but I think first I would just ask God to reveal himself to me in a way that I can't forget.
I would probably say to give me the ability to talk with my sister or communicate with her and have like a whole yap session with her, because we gotta have the girl talk, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, that'd probably be my wish.
I'd probably say just take her pain away, not change who she is or what's going on, but just make her comfortable.
I think Sienna kind of touched on it a bit, but like memories, I guess, like to be able to spend time with her, I guess. Like we went to Disneyland a lot. That's what I want to do again. Like not just like for Disneyland, but just to be with her again. Like I'd write It's a Small World like 20 times if she wanted to. That's what it takes. Although it's kind of a vibe, I kind of like sing along.
So does my dad.
It's a small world after. You're welcome. I guess I like just make more memories, be able to spend time.
Thank you guys all for sharing. I just want to end with this. What advice would you give to the person listening? Whoever that person is. I mean, because obviously the majority of the people that are listening are not in all of our circumstances, don't have a sibling with a terminal illness, or don't have a sibling in heaven. So just share your heart, whatever advice you would give to them.
I would say just live life with a open heart, be open-minded about anybody's situation, because you truly never know what anybody has gone through or is going through. And just, be respectful, be loving towards everybody. It doesn't matter who they are to you or how much you might dislike somebody. At the end of the day, everybody goes through stuff, and nobody goes through, something worse. I feel like everybody's problems is equal to everyone else's.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. Like, live your life to the fullest, and like, don't take the small things for granted, and be yourself.
Eli says to follow the bills, but
Hey, you can do that too.
You can very well do that. My advice is, I guess Sienna touched on it, like just live life to the fullest, no worries. Just give it to God and go do it.
I'd say put God first and focus on him. Set your eyes on him. Love people, which I have a hard time doing sometimes, but love people and then love God first.
I would say cherish every moment and just appreciate everybody close to you, and just make sure to show that you love them.
A good way to help people tell their story is to ask questions. And so I think just to ask as many questions as you can so that we can know each other's stories, and I think bring out the humanity in sick kids as well as just everyone that you interact with that are going through stuff.
Yeah. Thank you guys for sharing your heart, for being here. I'm so thankful for each and every one of you. I love you. You guys are family to me. And we are going to do this again next year. And I'm sure some of your answers might be the same. Actually, we'll probably have all new questions. And Jessie, I expect another icebreaker question next year. So think about it. Start thinking about it now. But thank you guys all so much. We always end the podcast with prayer. So everyone's pointing at Eli. Abby's saying, don't ask Eli to pray. Would any of you be willing to pray?
Eli said he would.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you that we are all able to gather here and that we are able to focus on you and focus on each of our stories that you have set up before us, God, and give advice to people and just share our story, well, a part of our story, a part of our testimony, about how we found you and what you've done for us, God. And we just ask you to bless it and to help us spread the word about you and what you've done for us, and that you will do immeasurably more through this podcast and through us, God. And amen. In Jesus' name, amen.